Kai had never imagined that his first trip to another planet would be so confusing. He was a young human engineer, barely 23, and somehow, by a mix of luck and timing, he had been chosen to participate in the Violia exchange program. Violia was a planet far from Earth, home to several alien species, each more extraordinary than the last. Their cities floated in the sky on platforms of crystal and light, and their technology was advanced beyond anything Kai had studied back on Earth. Kai had been warned repeatedly about the rules of the palace. The alien royalty were private and formal, especially the princesses. Humans were considered clever but somewhat reckless in Violia, and Kai could feel the weight of that stereotype pressing down on him. He reminded himself for the 10th time that day, no mistakes, no accidents, be polite and stay out of trouble. Yet, as humans often do, Kai made mistakes. He had been tasked with delivering new energy stabilizers to the palace. They were delicate, strange-looking devices that hummed with a soft blue glow, and he carried them carefully in a reinforced case. The palace corridors were longer and more winding than he had anticipated, with twisting stairways of translucent crystal and doors that seemed to shift slightly when no one was looking. Kai paused, consulting the map in his hand. "Storage room should be right here," he murmured. A door ahead looked simple enough, plain white with a small golden plaque. Without thinking, he pushed it open. Inside, Kai froze. The room was not what he expected. Lights glimmered softly over flowing fabrics, floating mirrors, and delicate, almost magical-looking clothing that shimmered in colors he didn't even have names for. 3 figures turned to him at once, and Kai's jaw dropped. 3 alien princesses, each from a different species, stood there, clearly startled. One had shimmering blue skin and long hair that floated slightly, like it had its own gravity. Another was taller, with translucent wings folded neatly on her back. The third had a soft golden glow surrounding her, her eyes like liquid sunlight. All of them looked utterly regal and utterly annoyed. Kai's mind went blank. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Sorry. I didn't know this isn't the storage room," he finally managed to stammer. His voice sounded tiny in the large, glittering room. The blue-skinned princess raised an eyebrow. "You what?" she asked, her voice melodic but firm. "You walked into the dressing chamber." For the princesses, Kai's stomach sank. Dressing chamber. That explained the clothes. That explained the mirrors. That explained everything he hadn't thought about until it was too late. I'm really sorry," he said, bowing slightly, though it was more of a hasty lean than a proper bow. "I just came to deliver the, energy stabilizers." He held up the case. The princess with wings crossed her arms, tilting her head. "Energy stabilizers, you say?" In the dressing chamber, her tone carried a mix of amusement and warning. "Humans are strange creatures. You should not be here." Kai swallowed hard. I know. It was an accident, I swear. I was following the map." "Maps?" The glowing princess raised both hands, her light flickering slightly. "You rely on maps to navigate a palace. How fragile." There was a hint of teasing in her tone, though Kai didn't dare smile. Before he could respond, something unexpected happened. One of the floating mirrors near the blue-skinned princess flickered to life. A small holographic interface appeared, reacting to movement, and apparently to Kai. For reasons beyond his understanding, the interface projected a short animated hologram of him in a very awkward pose, arms flailing. Kai's eyes widened. "Oh no, that's not," the princesses stared. And then, almost in unison, they burst out laughing. Not loud, dramatic laughter, but soft, musical laughter that made Kai feel even smaller. "I must admit," said the winged princess between chuckles, "you are very human." Kai blushed. He wished he could disappear into a hole in the floor. I really am sorry, I didn't mean to." The blue-skinned princess waved her hand, silencing him. "Stop apologizing. Let us see. These energy stabilizers of yours. Perhaps humans are not completely useless." Kai blinked in surprise. He had been bracing for anger or punishment, not curiosity. He carefully opened the case and displayed the devices. They hummed softly, and the light reflected in the princess's eyes. The golden princess leaned closer, examining them. Interesting, compact, efficient. You humans think differently than we do. Clever in your own strange way. Kai felt a spark of relief. Maybe this accident wasn't the end of the world. Maybe humans could actually impress alien royalty. Would you like me to explain how they work? He asked, gaining a little confidence. The princesses exchanged glances. Finally, the blue-skinned one nodded. Explain, human, but quickly. We have other matters to attend to. Kai took a deep breath and began describing the stabilizers in simple, careful words. He pointed out the glowing cores, the safety mechanisms, and the adaptive interface. He was fully aware of the weight of their gaze on him, but he pressed on. By the time he finished, the princesses were nodding appreciatively. Impressive, said the winged one. Your species is persistent, curious, reckless, yes, but also capable. Kai smiled nervously. Thank you, I just want to help. The golden princess tilted her head, regarding him carefully. Curiosity, bravery, helpfulness, qualities not every human shows. Perhaps your accident brought something more valuable than just embarrassment. Kai felt a small flicker of pride. He had come here thinking humans were just another species, maybe clumsy and foolish. But in front of these advanced beings, he realized that humans had something unique: ingenuity, honesty, and courage that even aliens respected. Just then, a soft alarm echoed through the palace. Lights flashed briefly and a distant voice announced, "Energy core fluctuation detected. Immediate stabilization required." Kai froze. Energy core, the main energy system of the palace. The princesses looked at him, eyes wide. Perhaps human. Perhaps your presence here is not entirely accidental, said the blue-skinned princess. Kai's heart raced. This was no longer about a simple mistake. The palace, possibly the entire royal city, needed help, and for some reason the princesses were looking at him. Do you think I can help? He asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The golden princess smiled faintly, a rare expression from royalty. If you fail, you will be remembered as a human who caused chaos. If you succeed, you will be remembered as a human who saved us. Kai swallowed hard. He nodded. Then, let's do this. And with that, the accidental encounter in the dressing room became the start of something much bigger. Kai didn't yet know that humans were about to show the aliens a combination of courage, ingenuity, and resourcefulness that no one had expected. For now, though, he had three very annoyed, but also intrigued princesses, a flashing alarm, and a palace full of mysteries that might just change his life forever. The palace corridors seemed even larger now, more confusing and dazzling than before. Kai followed the three princesses as they led him toward the central energy core chamber. Despite his nervousness, he tried to stay calm, remembering the advice his mentor on Earth had once given. In a crisis, focus on what you can control. The rest will follow. The first step, clearly, was communication. Kai knew that even though he understood the language basics, subtle gestures, tone, and expressions could mean entirely different things to aliens. Humans were often misread, and that had almost led him into disaster in the dressing room. He resolved to be careful. The blue-skinned princess, who seemed to lead the group, glanced at him. Human, explain your experience with energy systems, quickly. We have little time. Her tone was sharp but not unkind. Kai cleared his throat. On Earth, I've worked on stabilizing small energy grids. I've never dealt with something this large, he said, waving at the vast crystal halls that surrounded them. But the principles are similar. You monitor the output, check for fluctuations, and correct imbalances before they escalate. The winged princess tilted her head, her translucent wings shimmering faintly. Imbalance. Correct, human, you speak as if this is simple. It is not. The core is ancient, delicate. One mistake in the palace may lose power entirely. Kai swallowed. I know, but if I work carefully, follow your protocols, and have your guidance, I can help. The Golden Princess studied him in silence. Her eyes glowed softly as if weighing every word. Curious human, you appear both reckless and sincere. Perhaps your presence here is more than coincidence. We shall see. Kai felt a shiver of both pride and fear. They were giving him a chance despite his mistakes. That was more than he had hoped for. The group entered the energy core chamber and Kai gasped. The room was enormous, filled with floating conduits of glowing energy, spiraling arcs of light, and humming machinery that seemed alive. The core itself floated at the center, a large crystalline structure pulsing softly but erratically. See the fluctuations? Asked the blue-skinned princess. Energy levels are unstable. The core is weakening. If it fails, the palace may lose gravity regulation, lighting, life support, everything. Kai nodded. His mind raced. He could see that the energy readings were unusual, not something a standard human engineer would expect. But humans had one thing that aliens sometimes underestimated: imagination and adaptability. I need access to your control interfaces, Kai said, his voice steady. I can try to stabilize the core, but I'll need both data and permission to adjust the output manually. The princesses exchanged glances. Finally, the winged one spoke. We will allow it, but human, if you fail. Her eyes narrowed slightly. The consequences may be permanent. Kai swallowed hard but nodded. I understand. I won't fail. The first step was analyzing the readings. Kai studied the holographic displays projected above the consoles, trying to make sense of the alien measurements. His knowledge of electrical systems, energy flow, and stabilization devices from Earth gave him a starting point. Slowly, he began to map human logic onto alien systems. Minutes passed like hours. The princesses watched him closely, observing how he adjusted settings, rerouted minor energy streams, and identified anomalies in the flow. He was careful, methodical, and surprisingly calm under pressure. Then the first problem appeared. A small spike surged through the core, threatening to overload a critical conduit. Kai's hands moved quickly, following instinct and training, but the spike didn't subside. Human. You must act faster, shouted the blue-skinned princess. It will damage the core. Kai's heart raced. He had two choices: wait for the system to stabilize on its own or intervene directly. Humans often acted in situations where others hesitated, relying on courage as much as skill. He chose courage. He bypassed the affected conduit, creating a temporary path for the energy to flow. Sparks of light shot across the room as the core stabilized, and the spike vanished. The princesses stared, the blue-skinned one's eyebrows raised. Interesting. You humans do not always follow protocol, yet sometimes your methods succeed. Kai gave a small, relieved smile. Sometimes humans think outside the rules. The winged princess's eyes softened slightly. Perhaps there is value in your recklessness after all, but human, why were you here? Did you plan this? Kai shook his head. No, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but now I can help, and I want to. The Golden Princess spoke for the first time in a while. Her voice was calm, almost approving. Your honesty is rare. Many would claim knowledge they do not possess. You admit your limitations and act despite them. That is impressive. Kai felt a small swell of pride. Humans were often underestimated, and yet here he was, earning respect from beings far more advanced than himself. Just as he was catching his breath, another issue appeared. A minor fluctuation, hidden deeper in the core's secondary circuits, began to ripple outward. The human sensors caught it instantly, but the princesses had not noticed. Kai pointed. There, that fluctuation, it's moving toward the auxiliary conduits. If it spreads, it could destabilize the entire system. The princess's eyes widened. You see it already? Asked the winged one. Perhaps humans have sharper senses than we credit. Kai worked quickly, rerouting energy flows and adjusting stabilizers. The ripple was contained and the core's pulse returned to normal. He breathed heavily, wiping sweat from his forehead. The princesses stepped closer, studying him with fascination. "Human, you saved the core," said the blue-skinned princess. "Not by following tradition, but by using your creativity." Kai smiled weakly. "That's what humans do. We adapt, we try." The golden princess's light shimmered gently. "Indeed, you have proven that despite mistakes, humans can act with intelligence, courage, and ingenuity. Perhaps we judged your species too quickly." Kai felt a sense of warmth. The dressing room incident seemed far away now, replaced by a moment of trust and respect. He was no longer just the clumsy human who wandered into private spaces. He was a human who could make a real difference. Suddenly, the room's lights flickered again. A soft alarm sounded and the core's holographic display revealed something new, a hidden pattern in the energy flow. "What is this?" Kai asked, studying the data. "These fluctuations, they aren't random. Someone or something is testing the system." The princesses exchanged concerned glances. "Human, you may have discovered what we only suspected," said the blue-skinned one. "The palace core may have been tampered with, a test for potential allies perhaps, or a warning." Kai's heart pounded. A test. Tampering. His simple mistake had somehow led him to uncover a mystery that even the princesses had not fully understood. "Then we need to investigate," he said firmly. "If it's a test or a sabotage attempt, I can help find the source." The princesses nodded. "Very well. Human, you will accompany us, but remember, your next actions may have consequences beyond this room. Are you prepared?" Kai straightened his shoulders. "I'm ready. I'll do whatever it takes to help." For the first time since arriving on Violia, Kai felt a surge of confidence. Humans were often underestimated, even by themselves. But here, in this palace, surrounded by beings who could have dismissed him entirely, he had proven that courage, honesty, and intelligence could make a difference. The Golden Princess smiled faintly. "Perhaps your accident was fate, human. Perhaps it brought the right person to the right place at the right time." Kai looked at the princesses. He thought of the dressing room, the accidental entrance, the awkward hologram. It had all seemed like a disaster. Yet somehow it had led him to this moment, standing on the edge of a palace-wide mystery, ready to act, ready to help, and ready to show what humans were capable of. And though the corridor ahead was filled with uncertainty, danger, and the unknown, Kai felt something rare for a human so far from home. He felt respected. As they moved toward the deeper chambers, he couldn't help but think. Humans might be clumsy, reckless, and often underestimated, but they could rise to the occasion in ways no one expected. And this was only the beginning. The deeper chambers of the Violia Palace were unlike anything Kai had ever imagined. The walls shimmered with light that seemed alive, and energy conduits twisted along the ceilings like glowing vines. Every step echoed softly, carrying a hum of power that filled the air. Kai felt a mixture of awe and tension. This was the heart of the palace, the energy core that powered the entire city, and now he was right at its center. The princesses moved ahead of him with grace, their eyes scanning for any irregularities. The blue-skinned princess led the way. "Human, remain close. The patterns you discovered in the core suggest someone or something is testing the palace defenses." "We cannot underestimate the situation." Kai nodded. "I understand. I'll watch the data streams and help wherever I can." They entered a vast chamber dominated by a massive crystalline interface. Energy arcs leapt between floating conduits, and holographic displays flickered in response to even the smallest disturbances. Kai immediately recognized the signs of manipulation. Certain conduits had been rerouted subtly, creating inefficiencies that only someone familiar with the core could notice. "This isn't just a fluctuation," Kai said. "Someone is deliberately altering the energy flow. Whoever did this knows the system well." The winged princess tilted her head. You humans have a remarkable eye for detail. You see things we may overlook because we assume perfection in our designs. Kai felt a rush of pride. Humans often relied on observation, intuition, and problem-solving in ways that others didn't expect. It's not perfection, he said. It's about noticing small changes before they become big problems. The Golden Princess moved closer to the main interface. Human, we need your help to stabilize the secondary circuits. If the disruptions spread, they could affect the gravity regulation of the palace. The city above relies on precise energy balance. Kai immediately set to work. He accessed the control panels, interpreting the alien symbols and data streams as best he could. His fingers moved quickly, rerouting energy flows, adjusting stabilizers, and correcting minor imbalances. Each adjustment required precision. Too much or too little could destabilize the entire system. Minutes passed, and Kai's confidence grew. The princesses observed silently, their initial skepticism replaced with admiration. "Human," said the blue-skinned princess, "you act with calm and skill, yet you do not rely on rigid rules. You adapt, you improvise. This is impressive." Kai smiled faintly. "That's what humans do. We adapt when things get difficult." A sudden spike in energy jolted the core. A bright arc of light flashed across the room and a conduit began to overheat. Kai reacted instantly, rerouting power through auxiliary channels. Sparks flew, but the system stabilized. The winged princess's eyes widened. "You predicted it." Humans can think quickly in dangerous situations. Kai wiped sweat from his forehead. "We try. Quick thinking can save a lot of problems before they become disasters." The Golden Princess stepped closer to him, her glow warm and reassuring. "Your presence here is unusual. Many humans would panic, but you are focused, steady, and creative. Perhaps this accident in the dressing room brought us someone who could truly help." Kai felt a small surge of pride. He had come to Virlia as a visitor, uncertain and nervous, and now he was earning the trust of alien royalty. But just as the tension eased slightly, a new problem emerged. The secondary circuits showed another pattern of disruption, this one more subtle and harder to detect. Kai squinted at the data. "This is clever," he muttered. "Whoever is behind this wants to test the core's defenses without causing immediate damage. It's like a puzzle." The blue-skinned princess raised an eyebrow. "Puzzle? Human, you find this amusing?" Kai shook his head. "No, but it's challenging. Challenges are opportunities. I think I can trace the source if we act carefully." The princesses nodded, giving him space to work. Kai began analyzing the energy flows, identifying points where manipulation had occurred. Each conduit told a story, and slowly a pattern emerged. Someone had left deliberate traces, almost like a signature. "I see it," Kai said. "The disruptions aren't random. They form a sequence, a test. Whoever set this up wants someone capable to notice and respond correctly. And I think I can solve it." He instructed the princesses to adjust minor conduits in specific ways while he monitored the core. Together, they followed the pattern, and with each correction, the energy flow stabilized further. The palace lights became steadier, the hum of power more harmonious, and the risk of a full-scale failure diminished. The princesses watched in awe. "Human," said the winged princess, "you have not only stabilized the core but also deciphered the intent behind these manipulations. This is remarkable." Kai shrugged modestly. "It's just observation and logic. Anyone could do it if they stay focused." The Golden Princess's eyes glowed softly. "Not everyone. Few could have remained calm and methodical under pressure. Humans are unpredictable, yet capable of greatness." Kai felt a warmth in his chest. Humans were often underestimated, but here, in the heart of an alien palace, their qualities, courage, creativity, adaptability were respected and valued. Suddenly, the core pulsed with a brighter light. A hidden access point revealed itself, a console embedded deep in the main structure. Kai approached it cautiously, analyzing the symbols. "This is the control nexus," he said. "It's like the brain of the entire system. Whoever is behind this test left it open for someone to prove themselves." The princesses exchanged glances. "It appears your instincts were correct, human," said the blue-skinned princess. "This was no accident. Your arrival here may have been fate." Kai took a deep breath and carefully entered the interface. The system responded to his input, confirming his calculations. He traced the origin of the manipulations, a dormant security protocol designed to identify potential allies who could act intelligently under pressure. "So it was a test," he said aloud, "not sabotage. Someone wanted to see if the core could be saved by a capable mind, and they left clues for someone observant enough to find them." The princesses nodded. "Indeed, and you passed," said the Golden Princess. "Humans have proven themselves clever, resourceful, and courageous, perhaps too clever to be ignored." Kai felt a sense of relief and pride. What had started as an accidental entrance into the dressing room had transformed into an opportunity to demonstrate human ingenuity. He had earned the trust of alien royalty, stabilized the palace core, and uncovered a hidden test that even seasoned Virelians had underestimated. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for trusting me." The blue-skinned princess smiled faintly. "Trust is earned, human. You have shown that humans, though clumsy and unpredictable, can rise to challenges in ways even we cannot anticipate." The winged princess stepped closer. "You may have stumbled into the wrong room, but you stayed when it mattered most. Humans are admirable in their own way." Kai laughed softly. "I guess accidents can sometimes turn into something good." The golden princess's glow brightened slightly. "Indeed, and perhaps, human, you are exactly the type of ally we need." Kai realized that the palace, the princesses, and even the strange and magical energy systems were no longer intimidating. Instead, they were a stage on which humans could prove their worth, not through force, but through intelligence, courage, and adaptability. The test was over and he had passed, but Kai also knew that this was just the beginning. The palace had secrets still hidden, challenges still waiting, and humans had a unique role to play in this alien world. As they left the core chamber, the princesses walked beside him with newfound respect. The tension from the dressing room accident had vanished, replaced by trust and admiration. Kai smiled, feeling a sense of belonging he had never expected to find so far from Earth. Humans had a reputation for recklessness, yes, but they also had brains, courage, and creativity, qualities that even the most advanced aliens could respect. And in that moment, Kai realized something important. Sometimes it wasn't strength, size, or technology that mattered most, it was the human spirit. And that spirit had just saved an entire palace. The palace had quieted after the chaos in the energy core. The hum of the stabilizers and the gentle pulse of light from the crystalline structures created a calm atmosphere that was almost magical. Kai walked behind the three princesses, feeling the weight of what he had just accomplished. He had stabilized the core, deciphered the hidden test, and proved that humans could think creatively under pressure. Yet, despite the success, the princesses did not let him relax completely. They had questions, curiosity, and a subtle sense of amusement in their gaze. Kai realized that, while he had earned respect, he was still a human in an alien world, a species full of surprises, both good and awkward. The blue-skinned princess spoke first. "Human, tell us, how did you remain so calm?" Her voice was sharp but not unkind. "Many of our best engineers would panic in such a situation." Kai shrugged, trying to appear modest. "I guess humans are used to solving problems quickly. We rely on thinking, observation, and sometimes improvisation. It may look reckless, but we've learned to adapt." The Golden Princess smiled faintly. Adaptation, a simple word for a complex quality. Humans, though often underestimated, possess a unique resilience. You act when others hesitate, and that is admirable. Kai felt a small warmth in his chest. Humans were often seen as clumsy or unpredictable, yet here he was, being praised by alien royalty for what made him and his species human. As they walked through the palace corridors, the winged princess glanced at him. Human, you risked much to stabilize the core. Yet you did not demand recognition, nor did you hesitate to act. Few beings would behave as you did. Kai laughed softly. I guess I just wanted to help. I didn't think about recognition. On Earth, we learn that sometimes if you wait for praise, it comes too late. The princesses exchanged glances, their expressions softening. Kai noticed a subtle shift. They were no longer just observers. They were starting to see humans in a new light. When they arrived at a serene chamber filled with soft floating lights and crystal benches, the princesses invited Kai to rest. He sat, feeling a rare sense of calm. For the first time since his arrival on Virlia, he felt more than a visitor. He felt part of something bigger. The blue-skinned princess leaned forward. Human, you have proven intelligence, courage, and adaptability, but there is more we wish to understand. Why are humans different? Why do you act without fear of failure? Kai thought for a moment. I don't know if we are really different. Maybe humans are taught to survive, to try, to fix things even when it seems impossible. We know we can fail, but we also know we can learn. Failure isn't the end, it's a step forward. The princesses nodded, impressed. Their culture was more structured, more cautious. They valued perfection, consistency, and planning. Humans, with their unpredictable courage, offered a perspective they had rarely considered. The golden princess's glow brightened. Your words carry wisdom, human. Perhaps this is why your species succeeds where others hesitate. Humans combine curiosity, courage, and creativity in ways few can match. Kai smiled. I guess accidents can sometimes lead to good things. Like walking into the wrong room. He gave a small chuckle, remembering the dressing room incident. The princesses laughed softly, a sound more musical than he had imagined. The tension from the dressing room mishap seemed to melt away, replaced by friendship and trust. Suddenly, a subtle vibration ran through the chamber. The palace's security systems were alerting to minor, routine fluctuations. Kai instinctively stood. The systems are normalizing. Your palace is safe for now. The winged princess's eyes shone. Human, your presence here has changed something. Not just the core, but us. You have reminded us that courage and intelligence can come from unexpected places. Kai felt proud but also humbled. Humans were not invincible, nor were they perfect. Yet their resilience, creativity, and willingness to act had earned the respect of beings far more advanced than themselves. The Golden Princess spoke again, softly this time. Human, would you consider remaining here, even briefly, as an advisor, a guest, or an ally? Your skills are rare and your spirit inspiring. Kai's heart skipped a beat. I would be honored. The princesses smiled. This simple moment marked the transformation of Kai's role, from a visitor who made a mistake to a trusted human whose ingenuity and courage had proven vital. The blue-skinned princess stood, her expression thoughtful. Tomorrow, we shall formally recognize your contribution. But tonight, we celebrate the human who walked into the wrong room and ended up saving the palace. Kai laughed, shaking his head. I still think it's funny that it all started with a mistake. I almost didn't survive the first 10 seconds in that dressing room. The princesses joined his laughter. It was a light, joyful sound that filled the chamber, and Kai felt a rare sense of belonging. He was no longer just a human on a strange planet. He was a part of the palace, part of the story, part of a friendship that bridged worlds. As the evening progressed, the princesses and Kai shared stories, laughter, and lessons from their worlds. Kai learned about alien customs, traditions, and technologies, while they learned about humans, their history, curiosity, and boundless creativity. Each exchange strengthened the bonds between them, and Kai realized something profound. Humans could be heroes not through force, but through intelligence, courage, and compassion. Before leaving the chamber, the winged princess placed a delicate hand on his shoulder. Human, today you have shown that your species is not only capable but remarkable. Perhaps the galaxy will come to understand humans as we now do. Kai smiled warmly. Thank you, that means a lot. I hope one day humans and Violians can work together for many things, not just emergencies. The princesses nodded. Their expressions carried pride and respect, and Kai felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The dressing room accident, the energy core crisis, and the hidden test had all led to this moment, a moment of trust, understanding, and interspecies friendship. As Kai prepared to leave the chamber, he glanced back at the princesses. I'll never forget this day. Not just because of the danger or the challenge, but because of what I learned. Humans have something special, and maybe, so do I, the princesses smiled in return. And we will not forget you, human. Your courage, honesty, and ingenuity will be remembered here for generations. You have proven that humans can rise to any challenge. Kai felt a glow of pride. Humans were often underestimated, but here, on Violia, they had shown their worth. It was not about strength, size, or advanced technology alone. It was about the spirit, the creativity, and the courage to act when it mattered most. As he walked through the palace corridors that had once intimidated him, Kai felt a sense of purpose he had never felt before. Humans were more than earthlings. They were problem solvers, adapters, and courageous beings capable of making a difference, even in a world light years away. And for Kai, this was only the beginning. The palace, the princesses, and the mysteries of Violia had opened a door, not just for him, but for all humans, to show that ingenuity, bravery, and heart could earn respect across the galaxy. The stars outside the palace shimmered, distant and vast, yet Kai no longer felt small. He felt part of something greater, a story that began with a simple accident but ended in trust, respect, and the promise of a lasting friendship. Humans had made their mark, not through aggression, not through dominance, but through brains, courage, and the ability to rise to the occasion. And in the quiet light of the palace, surrounded by beings who had once seemed so alien and intimidating, Kai realized something that would stay with him forever. Humanity could shine anywhere, even in the most unexpected places. Oops, I accidentally walked into the alien princess's dressing room, and they were not pleased.